Shalom. First of all, I want to give all praises to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Raha, Kodash, Yahweh being the true name of the Heavenly Father, who the world ignorantly calls God, and his only begotten Son's name is Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Of course, I want to give double honors to the elders and apostles at Great Millstone who are well. Peace and salutation to all the sincere Achim out there on the highways and hedges, all right, doing the work, all right, Yahweh Bahashem, Yahushai. And also, of course, doing the studio shows throughout the week to, of course, wake up the elect of the nation of Israel, which consists of you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and you confusion of face. All right, the confusion of face, dealing with, of course, you Israelite foreigners, which look like the heathen. All right, look like the rest of the nations where you've been scattered to, but you're Israelite through the Spirit, of course. Your spirit bear witness that you are the children of the power. All right. And of course, we say shalom to you. All right. But anyway, without further ado, I'm going to go into it. Of course, Bahashem Raha HaKodash, coming, of course, in the name of the Holy Spirit. All right. Yahweh Bashem Yashai Barakatham. All right. To all you Akim. All right, so anyway, going into it. So this is an article that I seen here on the RT, and it reads, suicide rate among accompanied underage refugees alarms Sweden. Okay, which you deal with, of course, with refugees. They left their country due to, of course, war or different, civil unrest. All right, refugee, a person who has been forced to leave their country in order to escape war, persecution, or natural disaster. All right, so they're pretty much asylum seekers. All right, seeking refuge from the troubles in their countries. All right, which their homes were. All right. So this is a big crisis. A lot of those countries in which Edom, which Esau is the so-called white man, who have, of course, went into a lot of the countries in the Middle East and such, all right, for oil and, of course, other natural resources. Him starting his wars and such, these Edomites, they have displaced many, destroying your towns and cities and such. All right, being all of the airstrikes and all right, and it has left these people seeking asylum. They have been refugees now. All right, so they they go to these different European countries. All right. And of course they of course face a lot of different hatreds, all right, prejudice, all right, racism and such, all right, from the people, all right, the natives there, because they feel that they're not welcome. And when you get into this, we have suicide, all right, which is an option in which most of these refugees that are underage, they have been resorting to. All right, they've been going and killing themselves, taking their own lives. In which, through the Spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, I'm going to speak upon this issue via the scriptures and such. I shall cover this article to the best of my ability. All right, so the main blame being on Esau Edom, which is a so-called white man. All right. Which they're the Edomites. All right, so this is Malachi 1 and 4. Let me see. I'll just start at the top. This is Malachi 1 and 1, and it reads, "The burden of the word of Yahweh to Yasha'Allah by Malachi." All right, so this goes out to the Negroes, Latinos, the Americans, which make up the nation of Israel, the 12 tribes. All right, Jacob being the patriarch. It says, "I have loved you, saith Yahweh. Yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother? Said the Lord. Yeah, I love Jacob. So the Lord, the Most High, his name is Yahweh. All right, when you go back into the Hebrew, when you see it, of course, in all caps, it's Yahweh. All right, which means he exists. All right. The Most High, he loves the nation of Yashala. All right, we are his chosen people. All right. It says, and I hated Esau, which Esau is the so-called white man. All right, which came out red like a hairy garment. You read that, of course, in Genesis. All right, that's why they're the Edomites. All right, they are a nation of people which have been created the wicked, in which the fourth verse shall explain. It says, and I have hated Esau and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. Whereas Edom said, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus said Yahweh of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord had indignation, which is a righteous anger forever. All right, so these fucking Edomites. All right, they have, of course, they came back into rulership. All right, after, of course, they fell. As you go into it. You had we gonna actually just I'm gonna just use the scriptures and break everything down. We gonna go into it when they was Alexander the Creep, as we call him, Alexander the Great, as other people may call him. He came into his rulership and such, which these Greeks and Romans, they are Edomites. All right, and they fell, and then they of course came back into power. All right, you read that Revelations 20th chapter and such, and they ruling for a little time and such till Yahweh Bashem Yahushai takes them out. All right, Yahushai gonna come back, who the world even calls Jesus Christ. He's coming back to take the kingdom. All right, to put it onto the Israelites. All right, but these damn Edomites, since they of course came to rulership, they got all this wickedness that's going to boot. All right, so this is Maccabees. I'm gonna go into it. The first chapter. All right, first Maccabees 1:1. It says, and it happened after Alexander, son of Philip the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chittim, and had smitten Darius, the king of the Persians and the Medes. All right, he conquered the Persians and the Medes. All right, that he reigned in the stead the first over Greece, and made many wars, and won many strongholds, and slew the kings of the earth. All right, which dealing of course with the earth at that time. Okay, being over there, in that region. Okay, Alexander and the Greek, of course, conquered different places. Yeah, of course, him and his different generals and all that. But you gonna go into it. I want to keep I want to keep on the topic. But it says but the point being, these Edomites, all right, they of course they war, they take over countries, all right, take resources, etc., spoils, and of course they lie. It says, and went through the ends of the earth and took spoils of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him. In which you have here to this day, these Edomites are still doing these things and such. All right, in the Middle East and such, going conquering over them lands and such, bringing the democracy and all of that, and displacing all these different people. All right, it says whereupon he was exalted and his heart was lifted up, and he gathered many strongholds and ruled over countries and nations and kings, who became tributaries unto him. All right, they tax these different countries and such. All right, wherever they rule and such. All right, and after these he fell sick and perceived that he should die. So of course, Alexander, he go into it. He said he reigned for 12 years, right, and then he died. But I'm gonna go to the point. All right, the point being at verse 9. It says, and after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their son after them many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth. All right, so due to these fucking Edomites and stuff ruling, all right, the evils had multiplied, all right, in the earth, all right, all over the earth, all right, and part of these different evils is all this wickedness being suicide and all of that, substance abuse, all of that, people living life all fucked up, all right, which let me see, we're gonna get into our first precept, but first I'm actually go back into the article so I don't go ahead of myself. So this is the article, right? It says the Swedish authorities are concerned by what they call disturbing number of suicide among unaccompanied minors, which you're dealing with, of course, these underage refugees, which are alone because they lost their family, been family died, in different trying to, of course, there's different ways these refugees go about and such to try to make it to these countries which they can seek asylum in and such, some of it being ways that are illegal means and such, all right, you can look into a lot of documentaries on that, but these unaccompanied just mean they're alone, all right, so who came to the Nordic country to seek asylum, all right, which just for the sake of edification, to go into the word asylum, okay, it means the protection granted by a nation to someone who has left their native country as political refugee, all right, so they'll go to the border and such, all right, and then of course state that, hey, I had to leave such and such, my native country where I come from, and to come here because of war or whatever it might be, okay? It says in 2017, as many as 12 unaccompanied underage asylum seekers living in Sweden committed suicide, all right? So you had as 12, okay? And these under the age of 18 and such, all right? It says a survey conducted by the local Karanska Institute, as requested as the request of National Board in Health revealed, these figures show a slight increase in 2016, when the number of suicide among the young refugees was below 10. The Swedish media reported in 2015 Sweden witnessed no such cases at all. It says these numbers are worrying. Unaccompanied children and teenagers who seek asylum and get stuck in our system need help and treatment to prevent further cases of suicide. All right, which antidepressants is not the case. It's not the solution to the problem. All right, we need to get these Edomites out of rulership. The wicked, which Job 9:24, the earth is given unto the hand of the wicked, and that's you Edomites. All right, so the earth is under your rulership, and in your rulership, the people are fucked up, which we gonna get into. The precept in Proverbs, the 29th chapter, I believe. At the second verse. All right, but I'm gonna just keep reading for now. All right, so bear with me. All right, it says this is a quote from this dude Petra Rinman, the director of National Board and Health Welfare Center of Unaccompanied Children and Young People, said in a statement. It says the number of suicides among unaccompanied underage refugees is 9 times as high as among Swedish peers. All right, so it's 9 times as high. All right, so more. All right, than the Swedish, the actual natives. Right. It says the media reported citing Rinman, the Karanska Institute also reports that the number of self-harm and suicide attempts among unaccompanied asylum seekers is also significantly higher than those who came to Sweden with a relative or a guardian. All right. So it's more higher. So if you have a guardian or a relative, you have somebody with you to look over you, you have family and such, it's basically less, all right, than being alone, all right, unaccompanied, all right. It also describe, because also you're in a place where a bunch of people hate you, for whatever nation you come from, all right. And it's a lot of Israelites are scattered amongst all of these different asylum seekers, being coming from all these different, sometimes even African countries, so-called, African countries are Hamitic countries, or Ham-Sakia, they just seek asylum, being all the different wars. It says the underage asylum seekers who took their lives in 2017, which was last year, which was we coined the year of death, diligence, and destruction. Actually, the elder apostle did coin it. It goes on. It says Apostle Tahar Slakia. It says we're all boys and men younger than 21 years old. So they're all boys, all right, men, not women, all right. It says younger than 21, all right. It says the report states almost all of them came from Afghanistan, all right, in the Middle East, and filled their asylum applications at the height of the refugee crisis in 2015. It says most suicide victims mentioned in the report were still waiting for their case to be processed by the Swedish authority, while minority of them had already had their applications rejected. All right, yeah. It says there were, however, also some that have been granted asylum. All right, what do you do when you, of course, you try to, you done fled all this war, all right, and then you go to these countries, and then that accept asylum seekers, and then you're rejected. This leads to, of course, suicide and all of that. All right, so it says the Swedish authorities said that in cases of suicide among the young refugees could be linked to their hardship they had before reaching Sweden, all right, which they have to go through. All right, I had just had my house destroyed. I just had my family destroyed. I may have been you say like a different like a disfigurement, all right, from being caught in amongst of bullets and bombs and all of that. You may have loss of legs and all that, all different type of things, different cases, different stories for whoever is the actual asylum seeker. So it says many of them have had very traumatic experiences in their country of origin before they fled, as well during their journey. It says Renman said, adding that such things might have an effect on their mental health, during their mind, all right. It says individuals who took their lives often had an insecure upbringing, limited or no school educations, were victims of child labor and ill treatment. All these things, all these experiences are risk factors that could lead to mental illness and suicide. They don't even have faith in nothing, so most of them and such too. So they basically living hopeless. All right. It says the local NGOs, however, partly blame Swedish migration authorities for the situation. All right, migration, I believe, deals with government, like immigration, seasonal movement of animals, going from one place to another. Yeah, movement of people to a new area or country in order to find work or better living conditions, in which these asylums are doing. All right, asylum seekers. All right, it says the young refugees are single, lack family. They came here in hope to find safety. Madidai, whatever his fucking name is. It says a member of the local charity group that helps refugees told Swedish media it is stressful for the unaccompanied minors to wait for the authorities. right? Because they gotta wait for a decision, right? It says decision on their cases for a long time, and these fucking devils do this shit with immigration for U.S. and all that, for even over here, when you need like immediate fucking answers, you need immediate placement and housing and refuge. They don't want to just go ahead and just quickly give it to you. A lot of they believe that a lot of these asylum seekers are so-called terrorists and such. All right, which Ishmael is a fucking wild man by nature and such, but Ishmaelites I'm speaking of, but yeah, they look down on all of them. But anyway, it says both the authorities and NGOs agree that urgent measures are needed to tackle the problem. Sweden must create a protected environment for the underage unaccompanied refugees, which that just goes into they just put you in these kind of like quarantine areas and such, and just leave you there. They build a small little like a little society and such amongst them, these different refugees, and it's just chaos. I mean, you could look at the different documentaries they be having on online and stuff, but yeah, it's fucking poor conditions too. A lot of rape and stuff goes on. It says social service and other actors need to make sure that these people have the best living conditions and pay attention to if someone of them is feeling bad. All right. So I mean, that's basically it on it. It says, I'm gonna just go into some numbers here. It says Sweden accepted as many as 163 163,000 Slovakia. I get it all mixed up with these numbers, but you see it right here. It says at the height 160,000. Yeah. People at the height of the refugee crisis in 2015, becoming one of the European countries with the largest share of refugees per capita, alongside of Austria. I believe that's in Germany. Right. Let's see, I should get that real quick. Central Europe. Yeah. Says this situation prompted authorities to adopt a new restrictive policy, which resulted in less than 30,000 people coming to Sweden in 2016. Even smaller numbers in 2016. All right, so you see the number, you got the hundreds of thousands, and now it's like only like 30,000. All right, and even smaller numbers in 2017. All right. So, yeah, that's it. And that's a migration issue, all right, with these different asylum seekers, all right. So, anyway, just to hit some precepts, this is Wisdom of Solomon 1 and verse 12. It says, seek not death in the era of your life, all right. This deals with suicide. And pull not upon yourselves destruction with the works of your hands, all right. So that's dealing with suicide, taking your own life, which ultimately you're being controlled by Yahweh Shem Yahushai, everything. There's no free will, but for the elect, all right, we're not supposed to resort to, of course, suicide, all right, no matter how much hardship we're going through. 'Cause, the elect will, of course, have to go through, some of them, all right, have to go through different situations when you have fucking concentration camps and being quarantined and all types of bullshit, but that's for the elect, know that we have to, of course, not even we're not going to resort to suicide no matter what. You Israelites, you Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans are not to do so, all right. Any such thing of that nature, all right. Simple as that, all right. Okay, and I'm gonna hit the Proverbs 29 and 2. It says, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, But when the wicked beareth rule, which the wicked we have established is Esau, Edom, they are Edomites, and they are the wicked, thus saith the scriptures, beareth rule, all right, which they have been ruling, the Edomites, the so-called white man, they have been ruling. It says the people mourn, all right, which that people, of course, they're, sad, all right, going to it, mourn, right? You get, what's that, anag, let me see the word real quick, Slakia, this, yeah, what's that, anach, which means sigh, groan, pain, grief, all right? Now, we're going to go down, all right, go back a wee bit, all right, and the people, of course, are fucked up, because the Israelites are not in rulership, which the nation of Israel will rule in righteousness under Yahweh Shai, all right? And of course, going down to the order, all right? Yahweh Shai, you got King David and the 12, all right, going into it, all right? Then the elect, all right? The 144,000, all right? Ruling over the nation of Yashala, all right? That's the future, okay? So it goes, I'm going to go down to another precept, and then we're going to finish it off. It says, when the this is Proverbs 29:16, when the wicked are multiplied, transgression increaseth, which is sin, all right? Only the Israelites can sin, which transgression, sin is a transgression of the law, breaking of the law. Read that in 1 John 3:4, something like that. And it says, but the righteous shall see their falls, and the righteous, that's the elect, all right, of Israel, shall see the fall of the wicked, all right? And that's basically it on that, all right? So hopefully you've been edified. Actually, I got one more precept, Slakia. This is Ecclesiastes, Slakia, in the Old Testament, right? 2:26, all right? For the Most High Yahweh giveth to a man that is good in the sight, it's like in his sight, wisdom and knowledge. So if you are good, you've been predestined to be righteous, righteous soul, all right, he give you, of course, wisdom and knowledge, all right, and joy, all right, but to the sinner he giveth travail, all right, which you going into basically labor, all right, troubles and such, all right. Travail is it says from the old fish travail, and it says work, labor, toil, suffering, painful of effort, trouble, a arduous journey, all right. So there's a lot of sinners, all right, amongst all these different refugees, and such. Obviously, we have all sinned, and us Israelites have all sinned and fell short of the glory of the Most High. But Yahweh Shem Yahshai, he give you wisdom, knowledge, all right, which will lead to your stability, your time, the times that it's gonna be worse than this, all right. It says to gather and to heap up, that he may give him that is good before the Most High. This is also the vexation of the spirit, all right. That's basically it. This is vexes, and it's vanity, all right. So with that, anyway, that's all it I have for you here. Hopefully you've been edified. The lesson being, all right, suicide rate among unaccompanied underage refugees alarms Sweden, all right. Because a lot of these refugees, putting themselves to death, all right. But the issues of death belong to the Lord anyway, So that's what it is. See if I got that. Yeah, this is Psalm 68:20. He that is our power is the power of salvation, and unto Yahweh the Lord belong the issues from death. Alright, and that's basically it. Yahweh Shem Yashai controlling all of this. So with that, I'm gonna say Shalom.